final lesson of Chapter 18, we're talking about choosing an appropriate unit of measurement and precision. Even though this is called appropriate tools, we're not using any tools. So the one vocabulary term here is precision, and it's how exact a measurement is. For us, the easiest thing to know is that the smaller a unit of measurement, the more precise the measurement is. By that I mean something like 11 inches is more precise than 1 foot, because inches are smaller than feet. I know this says pass out rulers, obviously not doing that because, not together. And we're going to go to page 530. So if you've got your book, go there. If not, here it is. So, let's see here. I did figure out how I can write on these. So here we go. First example, measure the line segment to the nearest centimeter and to the nearest millimeter. And they gave us two different rollers, one with centimeters, one with millimeters marked. So the first one, you can see where that line segment ends. Okay. And I can't be very precise, so I'm kind of going to use my highlighter here. That line segment where it ends is closer to 5 than it is to 4. And we want the nearest whole centimeter. So we would say it's 5 centimeters long. I know it's not actually 5, but when it says the nearest, we're allowed to round. So 5 centimeters is the correct answer for this problem. For the next one, it's going to be very difficult to see this very, very accurately with the book, especially being on my iPad. That's really bad. So I'm just going to talk you through this because if I try to draw it, it's not going to go well. So if you were to drop that line directly on top of the ruler, you would see it goes 2 tick marks past that longer tick mark between 4 and 5. Here, they're showing us millimeters by showing us all those little tick marks in between the numbers on the centimeter ruler. So each centimeter is 10 millimeters. So 1 centimeter is 10 millimeters, 2 is 20, 3 is 30, 4 is 40, 5 is 50, so on and so on. This line segment is clearly between 40 and 50 millimeters because it's between 4 and 5 centimeters. And if you get real close, and I can zoom this in, so let's get real close. We should be able to see here now that goes 2 ticks past the middle. The middle of 40 and 50 is obviously 45, and 2 more than 45 is 47. So that is 47 millimeters long. Okay. Let's see here. I'm done. So here we have, for example, 2, we've got a ruler that is in inches. And in inches, we don't break things down by tens. Remember, the metric system is nice. Our system is messed up. So a typical ruler is going to be broken down into sixteenths. And you can see all those tick marks in between 1 and 2 are of different lengths. Okay. The really long one in the middle is a half. The ones that are a little shorter than that are between the middle and 1, and between the middle and 2 are your quarters. 1 quarter, 3 quarters. The slightly smaller ones than that in the middle are your eighths, 1/8, 3/8, 5/8, and 7/8. And then the really tiny ones are your sixteenths. 1/16, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13, and 15, respectively. The reason there are no even numbers on our numerators is because those would simplify. 2/16, for example, is 1/8. Okay, so we're asked to measure this line segment to the nearest quarter inch, then the 1/8 of an inch, then the 1/16 of an inch. So to the nearest 1/4 inch, we're either doing an inch, a 1/4 inch, a 1/2 inch, or 3/4 of an inch. And that line segment you can see over here is a little curved because of the picture, but it is closer to 2 1/4 inches than it is 2 inches. So to the nearest 1/4 inch, it's 2 1/4. To the nearest 1/8 of an inch, which are those little tick marks, not the really little ones, but the semi-little ones. Yeah. It's closest to 2 1/8. And on the little, really, really little guys, it's closest to the 3rd tick mark over, so it's 2 3/16 on that. The most precise measurement is 2 3/16 because it's the smallest unit we went to. 16ths are smaller than 8ths, are smaller than 4ths. In precision, you want to get the smallest unit possible. Okay, so on the next page, we are asked to choose, we're going straight to example 3, choose the most appropriate unit of measure. So the weight of a cement block, and we're given the choice of ounces or pounds. Well, cement blocks are pretty heavy. I would probably want to use pounds instead of ounces. The amount of water in a bathtub, milliliters or liters? Liters are more appropriate, okay? I know in the metric system you have a harder time envisioning things, but you all know what a 2-liter bottle looks like because that's how soda is sold in stores. So a liter is half of that. Milliliter is smaller than liter by 3 orders of magnitude. It takes 1,000 milliliters to make a single liter. Like, milliliters are like eyedroppers. So if we're filling a bathtub and we want to know how much water's in there, we'd probably want to use liters instead of milliliters to figure that out. The length of a highway in miles or feet, it's a highway. Cars don't measure in feet, they measure in miles. And the mass weight of a feather, kilogram or gram. Feathers are pretty light. We would want to go with the lighter unit of measurement, that's grams. I'm going to do the practice solutions on this video as well, so feel free to pause and attempt the practice problems, and unpause when you're ready to hear those solutions. For number 1, to the nearest inch, that line segment is 2 inches, and to the nearest 1/2 inch, it is still 2 inches, because it's closer to 2 than it is 1 1/2. So the answers for number 1 are both 2 inches. For number 2, that line segment to the nearest centimeter is 5 centimeters. And to the nearest millimeter, I would say is 52 millimeters. 52. I'm not having you do 3, 4, 5, and 6 because I don't know that you guys have rulers. So we jump to 7. Which is more precise? 3 feet or 29 inches? And that's 29 inches because inches are smaller than feet. 17 pints are more precise than 9 quarts in number 8 because pints are smaller than quarts. In number 9, 6,004 pounds is more precise than 3 tons because pounds are smaller than tons. And for number 10, 71 millimeters is more precise than 7 centimeters because millimeters are smaller than centimeters.